Hello everyone, welcome to Hops and Highways, your weekly newscast dedicated to the road building industry. My name is Jessica Lombardo and I'm editor of Asphalt Contractor Magazine. We are here today live, not in my basement obviously. We are in Capital Brewery in Middleton. They were kind enough to let us come into their tasting room. We have it all to ourselves. We're not taking advantage of it at all, I promise. Don't tell my boss. But today we really want to celebrate the road building news, and we'll start off today by congratulating the winner of our latest koozie, our Hops and Highways koozie, Brent O'Neill. He works with the Madison Parts Department, and congratulations, Brent. If you want your chance to win a Hops and Highways koozie, make sure you enter. On our website, we'll post a link later today once we are done with our filming. So today at Capital Brewery, I am having their Appalache. It's an apple doppelbock. It's not like a cider, it's really like an apple beer, which I love. It's very refreshing, fruity, perfect for spring. It's finally starting to warm up in Wisconsin. We're so thankful for that. Dormy, what do you have to drink today?
Well, today I have a Yakima, which is a juicy IPA. It's super good, mango, passion fruit flavors. It's awesome. So cheers to you, Jess, and cheers to Hops and Highways.
Cheers. Thanks for joining us today, everyone. Hello everyone, welcome to Hops and Highways, your weekly newscast dedicated to the road building industry. My name is Jessica Lombardo and I'm editor of Asphalt Contractor Magazine. We are here today live, not in my basement obviously.
So we're going to jump right into the news of the week. President Joe Biden unveiled the details of his $2 trillion plan to repair and upgrade the country's infrastructure, calling it a once-in-a-generation investment in America. So the American Jobs Plan is billed as a way to rebuild the nation's infrastructure system while generating employment and economic growth. It includes investments beyond transportation, infrastructure, such as broadband, schools, construction, and drinking water.
Yeah, so Biden, he called this plan big and bold, and he proposed $621 billion in total spending for the transportation sector alone. And among the proposals, Biden wants to modernize 20,000 miles of highways and roads, repair 10,000 bridges, and by 2020 build a network of 500,000 electric vehicle chargers. Wow. The plan includes $115 billion just to modernize roads and bridges with a focus on building for resilience.
So the administration's accompanying Made in America tax plan proposes the increase of corporate rates from 21% to 28%. The administration suggests that pay for $2 trillion infrastructure investment over 15 years. Other corporate taxes includes eliminating loopholes, increasing enforcements, and modifying deductions would also help pay for this plan.
And while the industry welcomes the funding increase, experts say that using tax increases for the pay for isn't the answer. And Representative Stan Graves, who is the top Republican on the Transportation and Infrastructure Committee, he said that this plan is a multi-trillion-dollar partisan shopping list, which is a progressive priorities for the Democrats. And they broadly categorize infrastructure and paid for with massive job-killing tax increases.
And the U.S. Chamber agrees that they say this proposed tax increase or related changes could actually counteract the plan's benefits. They say they strongly oppose the general tax increases proposed by the administration, stating that it will slow the economic recovery and make the U.S. less competitive globally, the exact opposite of the goals of the infrastructure plan.
So Democrats and Republicans obviously are already at odds over this plan, but they really need to come to an agreement before the FAST Act expires on September 30th of this year. So the industry, they're calling for action by the 4th of July, so helping contractors really be reassured that they have funding in place for their projects. The policies to rebuild our crumbling infrastructure, they should not be a partisan issue, but at the end of the day, they should benefit the traveling public and secure work for the 150,000 essential workers in the asphalt industry. We're ready to modernize our roadways, and cheers to the hardworking men and women out there.
Cheers. And the money can't come soon enough. The industry is starting to get back to work. According to the latest job reports, the Bureau of Labor Statistics and Construction Industry added 110,000 jobs in March. That means the industry has added 931,000 jobs since April 2020, recovering 83.6% of the jobs lost during the earlier stages of the COVID-19 pandemic. That's good.
Yeah, so for construction, it was the strongest month of hiring since June of 2020. And the construction unemployment rate, it fell to 8.6% in March compared to the 9.6% that it was at in February. In March of 2020. So in unemployment across all industries, it declined from 6.2% in February to 6% in March.
So cheers to all things starting to return at least a little bit to normal. So cheers to that. So as the industry starts to add and find workers, yourself might be looking for workers to find open jobs. So retention in a construction company is essential. So let's try to find ways to fix them.
Yeah. So the first mistake that a lot of construction companies make when they're hiring is that they hire at the wrong time. And so when you're under the gun, as the industry is starting to rebound and as your company is in the heart of the season, chances are that you'll take any warm body available to fill that job. But that approach isn't going to get you the help that you actually need long term. So instead, you should always be hiring at your company. Consultants, contractors, they say that the best time to hire is when you really don't need anybody. That way you can be more selective of the employees that you get and have a better chance of getting the type of employee that you want. Also, contractors say that hiring in the off season before your work really starts, it enables you to fish in a better stocked pond.
Hey.
That means that you can hire people before you have work. In other words, before other contractors hire them. So that means you'll always be ahead of the game.
And another mistake is not throwing a wide open net. So Jess talked about the fishing in the pond. So you can avoid this by utilizing all outreach available. So job fairs, visit your local tech schools, community college, referrals from family and friends, referrals from bonuses to employees, social media, even Craigslist, LinkedIn, things like that, even newspaper ads, all reach a different segment of the working population. And closing the door on too many opportunities restricts the number of people that you will reach. So really keep that door open. And maybe you can't do all these things that you want in this time, but do them thoroughly and regularly for sure.
Yeah. So next, you need to make sure that you have good interviewing skills. I know going into a job interview, you feel confident, you feel like you can reach that person, but you really need to have a good set of interviewing skills and set clear expectations for the potential new hire. So prospects, bad or good, they can be sharp and they'll pick up on any signals that you're sending during the interview. So you want to reveal information about themselves, and you don't want to tip them off to anything that you don't want them to hear. So you also don't want to lead them into an answer or provide them an out when they struggle with any of your questions. So interviewing should be viewed as an honest effort by both parties to find a good employment match. If you don't know how to interview a person, you could easily end up with an employee that is unsuited for the job and they don't know how to figure out what is needed to get that job done.
For sure. So if you are hiring, are you hiring just for a skill? That's another mistake. You really want to pay close attention to a prospect's personality and their character rather than their skill that they possess. So it's difficult to develop character traits if someone doesn't have them, but you can build the skills for any new hire that's willing to undertake that. And let's turn to that.
Yeah, so make sure you hire for the person, not just the job.
Exactly.
So that goes along with the next tip. You don't want to shortchange any new hire. So you need to keep an open mind. And once you've decided that you're going to bring this new hire on board, you might think that they're just a loop man or a ground man, but they could develop into your next paver operator or even a supervisor. You do not know their skill set. So keep an open mind. Don't box them into a certain job. And be open to your employees' interest in their growth opportunities. Provide them with ways that they can move up in your company. And that is only going to make them happier, make them feel like fulfilled in their careers, and make them feel like they can advance.
but you also don't want to beg a prospect to fit into a role. So if you recognize a personality trait and skill level, you can position these employees for success based on their abilities. So understand what they want and what they need. One sure way is to lose a solid and content worker is to move them into a position that you need filled, which is unable to fulfill their interest or their wants.
Yeah, so if an employee doesn't want to do the job, don't make them do it. Bottom line. So another big mistake is not offering training. How many people do you know that don't want to do a good job? How many people do you know that don't want to learn a new skill set? Everybody wants those things. In theory, you've hired people that want to do both. So make sure to provide them with a chance to learn, grow, and develop so they can help your company do the same. Everybody wants to be best. So not only will that provide you with good quality work, but it will also provide efficiency on the job, and quite possibly you'll find fewer equipment issues with the right people working those equipments. Plus, by providing training, you'll be able to better identify the people who can and who are interested in staying and moving up within your company, and that's huge.
Yeah, and once you have those workers trained, like Jess talked about, you have to make sure that you set a career path for them and define that in writing. Excuse me. A recent survey of a contractor showed that only 19% have a defined career path in place. So while they are training, make sure that you understand what they want to do in the future.
Yeah, training is only going to advance your employees, it's going to advance your company, it's great for both. So finally, and the most important thing that we can offer you to keep your employees happy is to pay them well. And you need to set an appropriate and competitive pay scale to do so. You don't have to far outpace your competition in terms of pay, but you need to pay at least what the market is paying for these people. And if you want to keep them, if you want good people, you need to pay them more. Contractors who continually pay below market wages, they not only have the least qualified and least productive employees, but they are also the contractors that are always in need of workers. And why is that? It's because their workers either moved out of the industry or went to the competition who is paying better and offering better benefits.
And ultimately, there is a finite pool of workers for which to choose from, and any business owner can do to make their company more attractive to prospect and current employees, then moves that company ahead of the competition where hiring is concerned.
So what are your tips that you have for hiring new workers? We want to know. Drop us comments, send us messages, send us emails. We really want to know your tips because the industry is really struggling to find qualified and skilled workers to keep and retain in this industry. And if we don't have the workers to do the jobs, we are not going to be successful, especially with the infrastructure funding coming in. So let us know what your tips are, and until then, everybody, please stay safe out there and have a great weekend. Cheers.
Cheers.
Hello everyone, welcome to Hops and Highways, your weekly newscast dedicated to the road building industry. My name is Jessica Lombardo and I'm editor of Asphalt Contractor Magazine. We are here today live, not in my basement obviously. We are in Capital Brewery in Middleton. They were kind enough to let us come into their tasting room. We have it all to ourselves. We're not taking advantage of